My name is Amy. I wanted to tell you a bit about the support I received from Aberlour and the impact it had on me and my family. I was referred to Aberlour by the social prescribing service at my GP surgery after my health had deteriorated and I didn't know where else to turn. My problem started last year when I had a flood in my flat. There was a lot of damage caused by a running tap while I was at work. This resulted in thousands of pounds worth of damage. When I was 16, my mum died. My mum and I lived in a house that I'm still renting. When my mum died, I had nowhere else to go. I have never had any contact with my dad. The housing association were reluctant to give the tenancy over to me. I'm not really sure why, maybe because of my age, but they were difficult about it, and the relationship I have had with them has been difficult ever since. When they came to inspect the housing association had stipulated that the only way I could take over the lease was if I agreed that all liability for repairs were mine. I was 16 and worried about being made homeless. I had nowhere else to go. At that time, I would have agreed to anything. I was young and grieving. I didn't realise what that would mean for me. I worked hard and studied nursing at college, and I had my daughter when I was 18. I went to university when she was 6 months old. We were doing fine. I worked hard and managed childcare to make it work. Me, my daughter's dad, and I aren't together anymore, but we worked it out for her. When the flood happened, it caused thousands of pounds worth of damage, and we couldn't stay in the house. It was so hard. My salary is decent as I work for the NHS, and initially we were sleeping on folk sofas, and I was trying to get the flat dried out so we could get the repairs done. I was also trying to get the money together for the repairs. So much of our stuff was destroyed, and because we weren't together as a family, it was really hard, and it was impacting in so many different ways. I was struggling because I couldn't pull the money together fast enough to get the work done and get us back in our own wee home. Emma stayed with her dad for 4 weeks initially. When I didn't have anywhere else to sleep, I sometimes stayed in the house, as I had nowhere else to go. I borrowed from family and friends to try to get things fixed. Everything was destroyed: flooring, appliances, everything was damp. Our clothes and Emma's toys were ruined. I was taken from one place to pay another, and things were starting to get missed. I missed rent and council tax, not because I didn't want to pay it, but because I was desperate to get things done. I had saved around half the money for the work needed, around £2,000, but other things were being missed to try and make this happen. That was when my bank was arrested. The bank arrestment had taken £1,000 straight from my account. That happened in December. It left me with almost nothing to make the repairs, and I was back to square one. Soon after that, the wages arrestment was then put in place. Between £250 and £300 was taken off my wages before I even started. It left me with no money for food once my regular bills were paid, and when I called, they didn't care. They said it would be in place until the full debt was paid. I would be crying on the phone, and I felt stuck. The impact on my mental health was really bad. My wages at the time were around £1,600 per month. I literally had nothing left at all. The first week of the month was the only time I was able to buy shopping. I had to use the food banks as well, but there was no progress on the house. This had such a huge impact on my health. I was so depressed and I had really bad anxiety. The housing association were taking me to court about rent arrears, and I could no longer face going to work. I was off for about 4 to 5 weeks. I had to take medication, and it just seemed never ending. I was getting unwell all the time too because I was sleeping in the house when I had nowhere else to go, even though the house was damp and everything seemed so bad. The arrestment for my wages was so embarrassing. I felt I then had to share everything with my employer about what was going on. I was worried about my situation at work and whether my employer would think I wasn't capable of doing my work. I worried that the situation would call into question my integrity. I felt so embarrassed and ashamed about this whole situation The house was a mess, and so was the garden. I was trying to do so much and wasn't getting anywhere. All this affected Emma too. We weren't staying together, and when we were together, we couldn't do anything or go anywhere, so it really affected the both of us. I felt so guilty all the time, and it seemed everything was out of reach. When we were together, I felt my patience was short, and I was snapping all the time. It wasn't a positive experience. Even buying new clothes and shoes, I had no spare money to do anything. We spent a further 6 weeks out of our home for the repairs to be complete. All I seemed to do was work and come home. I wasn't spending time with anyone or seeing friends. I was just really stressed. I felt so alone and I didn't know how I could go on. When Aberlour offered support, they got me the advice and the help that I needed. They talked me through the process and we looked at my budgeting and where I wanted to be. We were able to clear my rent and my council tax arrears and some smaller debts that had arisen because our clothes and things had to be replaced. I really didn't know how much longer I could have gone on living like that. I felt stuck there. There was literally nothing I could do. I was taking extra shifts and the wages arrangement would just be larger. Aberlour had helped me to get an application from my trust, which helped to get some of the things we had lost in the flood: toys and books, paint to decorate Emma's room. It paid for school clothes and a winter coat and activities for Emma to attend that I couldn't have seen a way of providing. The support allowed me to breathe again. I was so stressed and crying all the time. It allowed me to feel back to normal. I just felt supported and able to talk to another adult who understood and didn't judge me. I felt that someone was there for me. I wasn't alone having to deal with it all, and because I was on my own so young, I didn't have anyone like that. I am so much better now financially. All my payments are up to date, and I make sure I cover all the essentials. I don't have any missed payments, and I'm taking my daughter on her first holiday this year. We have booked and planned everything, and I was able to budget for this. I feel really proud, and it was so different to the past year. Aberlour gave me the skills to manage my own money. They taught me through what my priority payments are, and I feel capable of dealing with these things, and I know where to turn to if I need help.